But just 2 years after the official announcement of their relationship, the headlines started to turn sour. Early in 2002 came the news that things were not going smoothly between the golden couple. Britney had been indulging in underage drinking and partying, and Justin didn't approve. He himself was keen to get married, and Britney's mum thought it was a good idea too. But her daughter wasn't convinced. She was having too much fun and didn't want her style cramped. This may have seemed a bit hard on Justin, who probably thought he was doing the right thing. It all went from bad to worse when Britney failed to include Justin as her love interest in the video for her song Don't Let Me Be the Last to Know. By the end of the year, the couple had split, and by January the 30th, 2003, the US tabloid magazine, the National Enquirer, ran a headline claiming that Justin and Britney were involved in a love triangle. Justin wanted Britney back, but she, it was claimed, had been seeing Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit. Not only that, but it was in danger of turning violent, with Fred threatening to give Justin a good beating if he didn't back off. This was the sort of stuff the papers loved. Maybe all Justin had to do was to accept that there is no such thing as bad publicity and get on with his life. Before long, he was dating someone else, and that may have been the end of that. But by the time his solo album was released in November 2002, it was clear that he still felt betrayed by Britney, as the video for Cry Me a River would show.
I want people to get what they get from it. It's definitely a new sound. Not just for me, but period. It's a new sound. I'm very happy with it.
When it comes to extending one's career, the modern pop star has a clear choice. Either stay true to your bandmates and the group's loyal fans, or leave and go it alone. It worked for Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson and Robbie Williams, so why shouldn't it work for Justin? And who's to say, in this frantic age of rapid turnover and constantly shifting fan loyalties, which is the more courageous course of action? In February 2002, there was much earnest speculation about the future of NSync, and throughout the early part of the year, the music press buzzed with rumours that Justin was holed up in secret, producing his own material. A few months earlier, he had worked with Brian McKnight on his Grammy-nominated single My Kind of Girl, as well as co-writing and producing Britney's song What's It Like to Be Me from her album Britney. Would the multi-platinum partnership of NSync survive the vagaries of shifting fortune and expanding egos? Or would they stay true to their followers and to each other, and continue to turn out the same bright, catchy pop tunes for successive generations of increasingly disinterested young pop fans? Would Justin, now acknowledged as the charismatic core member of the group, be content to steer the same course through changes in his own life? Or would he feel it was time to move on, grow up and pursue his own career apart from the others? The feeling among certain of Justin's fans seemed to be that NSYNC were holding him back. NSYNC had had a good, if relatively brief, run at the top, and nothing lasts forever. Following in the footsteps of Robert Downey Jr., who appeared in the video for Elton John's single I Want Love, Justin was booked to play the young Elton John in a video set during the Great Dame's 1973 heyday. Done up in a snazzy black and white striped suit, complete with an alarming combo of bushy sideburns and yellow-lensed wide-rimmed sunglasses, the young pretender strutted his curiously compelling stuff. The resemblance, if not alarming, was certainly uncanny. Collaborations are an essential factor in 21st century pop. Remixes, duets, guest appearances and virtual collaborations via bootlegs are all a part of the process of life in pop's fast lane. Album duets also serve the useful purpose of making sure that the record sells to as diverse a fan base as possible. September 2002 was a busy time for NSYNC. Their various members of the group were pursuing their own activities outside the band. Lance Bass was bringing a new meaning to the term space cadet by training in Russia for a commercial flight into space. Joey Fartoni had joined the cast of the Broadway production of the musical Rent and celebrated his appearance in the comedy movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Justin was previewing his first solo outing, to be called Justified. He gave the debut performance of his single Like I Love You at the MTV Video Music Awards, allowing the world a glimpse of what was to come 2 months later with the release of the album. September also saw the release of the CD Disney Mania, which featured NSYNC's a cappella rendition of When You Wish Upon a Star. The group was also honoured by Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in New York, when their ghostly likenesses were unveiled, allowing fans the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be photographed with their idols. To finish a hectic month, NSync received America's Young Male Heroes Award, given to entertainers who are recognised as fitting role models for young people, in honour of their charity work with Challenge for the Children. In October, JC Chasez announced he too was recording solo material. All this activity naturally fueled speculation about the future of NSync as a group. Earlier in the year, Justin had lined up his superstar chums for a turn on his record. These included high-profile producers Timberlake and the Neptunes, rapper Bubba Sparxxx, Janet Jackson and P. Diddy. Rappers Clips also provided backup on Like I Love You. P. Diddy had also been unlucky in love with the high-flying pop diva J-Lo, but when the album was finally compiled, the P. Diddy track was rejected. Justin later said of Janet Jackson's voice that it sounded like feathers, and their duet was easily the sexiest cut on the album. In November, it was announced that Justin would be collaborating with Mariah Carey on her new CD, a plan that was later dropped by the mercurial Miss Carey. When asked if NSYNC had any plans to record again in the future, Justin's reply was evasive. He said that as far as he was concerned, you had to follow your creative instincts. NSYNC's legions of fans were left to judge for themselves what he might have meant.
I think that it's very me, and that's all you can do as an artist is do, what you think is an extension of you.
With the sessions for his album completed, it was now up to Justin to get out there and sell it. As publicity shots began to infiltrate the pages of pop magazines all over the globe, it became clear that the curly-headed boy next door, who just happened to be a multi-millionaire recording star, was gone and had been replaced by a far more cutting-edge persona. In place of the open smile and rather conservative image of the only member of NSYNC whose name anybody who was not a fan of the group could remember, was a sharp, moody young dude with serious looks and a natty, close-cropped beard. Was this, one wondered, what Britney had given up in order to protect her virginity? It seemed clear now that if NSYNC had a future with Justin, and it seemed unlikely they had much of one without him, they were all due for a serious makeover. Justin had stepped out of a gel-haired teen dream and into the starker world of urban entertainment, 21st century style. Gone too was the happy-go-lucky former Mickey Mouse Club trooper. Justin, it was claimed in press interviews, was wiser, more bitter and infinitely more experienced. His traumatic breakup with Britney had left its scars. In keeping with his updated image came a clutch of new associations. Angie Stone, Nelly and Pharrell Williams, pop rap maestro, one half of production team The Neptunes and frontman of NERD, were among the many pop celebrities keen to own up to being satellites in Justin's inner circle. Justin was the coming thing, the future king of pop. He knew it, and so did they. Speculation about the possibility of Justin touring to promote his album was laid temporarily to rest when he announced that the tour dates had been held over until the summer of 2003. He had other more pressing matters on his mind. Justified was competing with Eminem's new album 8 Mile, the soundtrack to his movie of the same name, and the only serious competition in the #1 album stakes. In the first week of its release, Justified racked up sales of 439,000 copies and lodged at #2 on the Billboard chart. However, Eminem easily beat him to the winning post with a #1 album that had sold in excess of 1.2 million copies in 2 weeks, beating Justin by 76,000 copies. On the 19th of November, disaster struck when Justin broke his foot in an unnamed incident while rehearsing for television appearances. The accident put his hectic promotional schedule back by 2 weeks, just at the crucial time when he needed to be maximising his coverage in the media. This meant that he missed co-hosting a party given by Smash Hits magazine in London, at which he was also supposed to perform. He joined hundreds of his devoted British fans in being sorely disappointed at the missed opportunity. With R&B and hip-hop now the most influential form of youth music and a multi-million-dollar global phenomenon, Justin was being hailed not only by his peers but also by the media as the latest pop phenomenon. He had come a long way in a short space of time. It was still only 4 years since the release of NSYNC's debut album, but in terms of style and approach they were light years apart. It was hard to see how there could be any going back. In a world where even heroes like Michael Jackson could slip from favour almost overnight, it must have seemed like a good idea to keep all his options open. It might still be possible to take NSYNC to the next level, to expand on the moves made on their last album, Celebrity, which had arguably been a Justin Timberlake album in all except name. The old guard of classic rock were now becoming increasingly marginalised, limited in 2003 to heritage tours and greatest hits packages, a world where the British Knights of Rock, Mick Jagger and Paul McCartney struggled to get album sales beyond the 1 million mark. In this scenario, the future did indeed seem to belong to artists such as Justin Timberlake, and he now seemed able to cross frontiers with ease and impunity. As guest bass player for the celebrated and unclassifiable American band The Flaming Lips, Justin made an appearance on British TV's longest-running weekly pop show Top of the Pops, dressed as a dolphin and acquiring large blisters on his fingers. If anyone had wondered who the mystery figure was, it was unlikely they would have guessed that it was a singer from NSync. Wayne Coyne of The Flaming Lips explained his connection with Justin by saying that they were both just in England looking for some ice to go in our Diet Coke. Perhaps it was as good an explanation as any.
You know, usually when I go out, I like to go out with my friends and we're from Tennessee, so we like whiskey. We like Jack Daniels. You know, honestly, for me, the no hangover alcohol is Crown Royal, Crown and 7.
As a good country boy raised on Baptist religion, bluegrass music and solid family values, Justin had a vital part to play as a role model for young people looking for direction during the impressionable years of their early teens. When Elvis Presley invented modern youth culture in the mid-1950s, a nation was aghast at the display of arrogance and raw sexuality that the king displayed on their television sets, bringing all kinds of unholy and unsettling associations into their quiet, God-fearing living rooms. As a result, filming him below the waist was banned. This was America at the height of its period of post-war denial, clinging fast to its dream of propriety and godly behaviour. But as youth culture grew in stature, earning millions of dollars for the American music and fashion industries, attitudes began to change. By the 1960s, pop stars were supposed to behave badly. It was all part of the nature of rebellion. Young people stood up against their parents, their teachers, the church, the state, and, to paraphrase the immortal words of Marlon Brando, whatever was going. But times change as the pendulum swings first one way and then the other. All this antisocial behaviour had left a bad taste as the 1960s closed. The first superstar deaths had claimed Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison of The Doors. Something had to change. By the end of the 1970s, a new era of professionalism had dawned, and in the 1980s MTV video shows established a new breed of pop stars. It was no longer fashionable to be seen to be about to die of malnourishment and a hefty drugs overdose. The era was dawning of fitness videos, leg warmers and celebrity makeovers. 10 years later, the world had turned once more to young people for positive role models, and the age of the boy and girl bands was born. Not all of them were angels, of course, but positivism was the new buzzword, with the Spice Girls flying the flag for girl power.